Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, your source for all hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, alternative, punk, horror punk, hardcore, rock, and all local bands, with your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
Hey, this is Matty P from Seasons. You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour. Crank that shit up.
The views and opinions of the guest do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather, and as always, I'm bringing you guys awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a privilege to have Poe. He's the guitarist of Seasons. Seasons have a 5-track EP entitled Inner Ruin out now and have released their new single, Call Me Karma. And we're going to be talking to Poe about Seasons' 5-track EP and plus all the good stuff about the band, and they hail from Virginia, so... Poe, how's it going, man?
It's going good, man. How you doing?
Doing awesome. Glad to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Well, let's dive right into this, man. How's it been working with Curtain Call Records so far?
Curtain Call has been absolutely phenomenal to us. Yeah, really, truthfully, we couldn't ask to work with a better team. You know, Gigi and John and their whole team, man, it's just like they legitimately care about their people and how they treat people. And I mean, that means a lot to us. That's actually a really solid, one of the more solid reasons why we chose to go with them.
You guys have released a new single, Call Me Karma. Was it hard to choose between the current set of songs on this EP, which would be the first single? And what did you want that first song to say for you guys? And plus, for the folks that hear your music for the first time to hear, what did you want that to say to them?
Man, that's such a tricky question. I feel like that's a stupid answer, man. But it's like everything that we write, man. I mean, it legitimately comes from the heart. I mean, we're not a band who just like specifically targets or tries to sell. We don't set out and we're like, oh, let's go write a single or write a song for this. Like, you know, we start writing music, and I mean, the stuff's got to have substance to it, and you know, that's something we take a lot of pride in, man. But I mean, everything comes from the heart. Call Me Karma, man. Call Me Karma has a really, really cool story behind it. There is a suicide prevention foundation in Northern Virginia. We're in Richmond. They're about 100 miles north of us up towards D.C. Anyway, a couple started that foundation who lost their teen son to suicide due to bullying from school. And, you know, that really hit home with us, man. I mean, like a lot of us got picked on. Actually, all of us we're still getting picked on. We're a bunch of idiots, but nonetheless, like, we laugh at it, man. But that's a real serious topic these days, man. And you know, just the amount of kids that are going through stuff and dealing with bullying in school, and you know, knowing that we went through that ourselves when we were in school, and we kind of took a step back and we were like, man, you know, we were the weird kids, and, you know, why not write an anthem for the underdogs? As cliche as that sounds, man, it's just an anthem for the weird kids like us.
I just want to say this right now because he hit a nerve with me about bullying. I don't like folks that bully, and it all comes down to parenting. You got to control your kids. Adults they're the same way. I mean, they're guilty of bullying as well, not just kids.
You know, and I'll add on to that, man. And, you know, a lot of people, I feel like a lot of parents out there, I'm a father myself, man. I got 3 kids at home, man, and, you know, a lot of parents that don't want to take accountability these days for their kids' actions, man. I'll be the first one to tell you, you're a product of your environment. And if you don't believe that, then I'd go as far to say you're not fit to be a parent if you don't believe that what you're raising and putting out to the world is going to affect like them. Like how you act your kid is a reflection of you, how they were raised.
Exactly. It rips my soul apart when I read and hear of kids 7, 8, 9 years old, even 10, committing suicide over bullying. I didn't have the best of clothes when I went to school. I didn't have the best of anything when I went to school, but what I did have, I was very thankful for.
I can say the same thing, man. I mean, I think to a degree, I think growing up, I mean, I feel like everybody goes through this, but I mean, it's so easy to get wrapped up in materialistic things. I mean, you know, not to get all preachy or anything, man, but it's you know, it's easy, especially the way society is today, man. You know, you look at, even now as an adult, adults do it. I mean, you look at the guy next to you, you might, for instance, pull up at a stoplight in a beater, and you get somebody who pulls up in a Corvette, and you're like, well, why the hell can't I have that? And it's like, I mean, that sadly enough, that's the world we live in, man. It's a materialistic place, and I feel like it puts that stigma into people's heads, and then it suddenly becomes okay to fuck with people over it.
Yeah, and it's not okay. It's not okay at all, folks.
No, not in the slightest, man. If that's how you get your rocks off, you need to seriously reevaluate the way you're living.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what I was going to say. That's exactly right, my friend. It's something I wish would stop, and hopefully one day it will stop. What's impressed or excited you the most, Poe, about making the new EP, Inner Ruin? What's caught your eye about it the most, if anything, when you were working on it, possibly?
I would say just the traction, man. Like I said, I mean, just, you know, I said we pride ourselves in being real. And, you know, it can, single we're running with right now is Call Me Karma. But, I mean, I'll give you another example. You know, there's a song on there called A Cold Night in July, and it's all in how you take it, man. I lost my dad a couple of years back, and our singer lost his mom, and it was actually like, you know, the whole song is about loss, but it can be taken from an aspect of military or just loss in general, man. And it was actually written in July, and we were standing outside talking, you know, just taking a break from practice. We all stepped out of the garage for a minute, and it was like, at the same time, it's weird. I don't know what people believe in. I'm not saying I do, but like our singer and I, like, both got like a chill, and we're talking, it's July, and we were just working on that song, and we were like, A Cold Night in July. There you go. That's where the name came from. So I mean, that's been kind of like the kind of the anthem of the entire EP, man. It's just being real, being honest with ourselves, being honest in how we feel, and we feel like if we're honest, you know, that we're not the only ones out there who feel the way we do. Other people go through the same things, man. I mean, you know, it doesn't matter what ethnicity you are. It doesn't matter your beliefs. It doesn't matter what you drive, what you wear. At the end of the day, we're all human, man. And a lot of us, whether the situations can vary in certain aspects, but I mean, we all deal with the same things.
I lost my father at the age of 18, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about him, something about him, or something reminds me of him. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I know exactly what you mean,
yeah,
man.
It's there's not a day that goes by, and I thank God that he was kind of the first one that actually showed me what music was. You know, he had 8 tracks and stuff like that, but he showed me what music was until my cousin showed me my love for metal when I liked metal music. But he showed me an old 8-track of Kiss, believe it or not, that I used to jam out to all the time. Used to love listening to Kiss when I was a kid.
So, man, I'll kind of tack onto that. It's kind of that's kind of funny, man. Wasn't Kiss. However, I grew up in a broken home. I feel like that's the norm these days, sadly enough. But no, my mom was real religious. One of the first things, I can't remember how old I was. I remember the cassette, but my dad takes me to Walmart, and I find a cassette of the band Extreme. So I get my dad to buy that for me. I take it home, and my mom gets rid of that thing, and it couldn't have been no more than a minute, and then she's arguing with my dad. It was just kind of the same principle. My dad was a rocker, and that's kind of how it went.
Over Extreme.
Hey, man, I mean, different place.
yeah, I understand that. Are there any songs standing out more to you right now, if possible, on this EP, Poe? I mean, I know it must be, hard to choose between these, but do you have any that stand out for you, possibly?
Dead Eyes Alive. That one's fun as shit to play live. That is the heaviest song on the EP. There's no clean vocals, and that's not even really why I like it. It more so comes back to the meaning. I mean, it's fun watching people lose their shit. And there's videos on Facebook of us playing the song in like a pit erupting. It was a home show for us, and like people lose it to that song. But that song is it's another one that hits home really hard, and I think that one stands out to me. We kind of probably gonna get in some trouble for this from the fan side, but fuck them. If you can't appreciate this, everybody's got their own opinions, and we're honest dudes, man. So
yeah.
But the song is a little controversial, man. It's written about addiction. We've all had friends between the 5 of us who have passed away from ODing, and sadly enough, man, I'm not trying to figure out how to word this correctly, so not as many people hate me for saying this, but we're not the guys who believe that addiction is a disease. I'm not saying, I talk to my wife about this frequently. My wife is a nurse practitioner. She's had years in the EU, works in a clinic. She's done pain management. So, I'm not saying there aren't cases where something happens and, you get addicted to pain pills and, it kind of stems from there. And I can understand how that's a gateway. The song that we wrote was more so directed at the people that just go out and party, and they have no regard for anybody around them, for any of their loved ones. They just stick a needle in their arm and couldn't give 2 shits less what somebody thinks about it, man. And then, it's just selfish. And there's a specific line in that song going into a breakdown. The line's about as simple as it comes, man. Our vocalist says, "You say it's a disease, well, I'm calling bullshit." And that's what it's targeted at. It's not targeted at somebody who legitimately has a problem and is legitimately trying to clean up. It's targeted at the assholes out here who have nothing better to do, and they go out and party, and then they want to turn around and cry, "Oh, it's a disease, it's addiction." No, motherfucker. Cancer is a disease. The guy with cancer sitting next to you did not fucking say, "Hey, let me have a cup of cancer. I'll inject this into my body." You had a choice the first time you put a needle in your arm. The guy with cancer didn't get a choice. That's kind of where that comes from.
I agree. There are people out there that are trying to clean up, and then you have the ones out there that just do it for the hell of it. They don't care.
And what kills me even more is the people that empathize with these people. Like I said, and I'll clarify again, man, not the guys that are out here trying to do the right thing and like, yeah, you developed a problem and you realize you got a problem and you're trying to get clean. We're talking about the idiots, like I said, we have friends in this category are not with us anymore because they were too stupid to stop. And while we love them and care about them, again, we're honest guys, man. We do it to each other. We do it to each other within the band. You can be my friend, and if I think something you're doing is stupid, well, I'll be the first one to tell you, but like, you're a fucking idiot. I don't know what you're doing.
Who did the artwork on this EP for you guys?
A friend of ours, man. Guy runs his own photography company. It was kind of cool. It's starting to get a little bit bigger now. He kind of stays local, but a guy named Billy Coyer. He is the owner of Through It All Photography. We kind of started out with a concept and kind of shot it over to him. We're like, we don't know exactly what we're looking for here, but like Inner Ruin itself is kind of talking about like battling your own demons, man. Everybody's got skeletons, and that's kind of what the track came from. And so we were like, man, find something. We didn't want to go. We're not shock rock, we're not horror rock, and we don't have anything against that, but we were like, we don't want to go that route to where we put out an image that's like, oh, this could be in a horror film completely, but we didn't want it to be too soft either, man. And that's kind of where the artwork came from. It's kind of a guy getting lifted up, and not really sure how else to explain it. The artwork kind of speaks for itself.
Who produced this EP for you guys, Poe?
We, as far as the writing category, is I'd say 95% us. The guy who we record with, and actually on the production side, our engineer, he helped us out with the production as far as writing, and then there's just the production of the product in general. He's a absolute genius. His name is Chris Hummel, and a lot of people wouldn't believe it, but we get a lot of compliments on the production and the quality of it, and he records in his living room. Everything is in the living room. He used to own a studio. He had a studio, a professional studio. You walk in, it looked like stuff you see on TV and see in magazines, and he got tired of paying rent, and he was like, man, you don't need this giant space to get an amazing product. And so he's based out of Petersburg, Virginia, which is about 20 miles south from us. And yeah, we record in his living room, man. It's incredible. He's incredible at what he does.
Working with him, do you feel like he got that extra oomph from you guys on this EP?
I do. We're very critical of ourselves, and it's funny, man, because like we use Dropbox, and like if you could see the Dropbox folder, I mean, they're broken down into separate folders. But if you went back and saw like how many versions of each track that we had, because we did something different here, or something different here, and it's like, you know, after we decided, then he would come back and he would like, he's an honest guy too. Like maybe we have a thing for dealing with assholes, but it's a good thing. But like we would decide, and he'd look right at us and be like, "No, man, that sucked. Let's try something else." And so I mean, it was cool. You know, it's pretty much, hey, take the tampon out and do it again. But like,
oh God, oh, how much growth musically have you seen this band and yourself go through since the formation and up to this release of the EP? Or has it just been more of a personal growth for all of you guys involved with it?
It's been it's a little bit of both, man. You know, we started this band, and I actually did an 8-year hiatus to do this. I did not touch a guitar for 8 years. My drummer and I were in a band 8 years, well, I guess 9 years now, but 8 years prior to starting this. The band's name is not even relevant, but basically, long story short, we got offered a deal from Atlantic. And when I say offered a deal, I'm talking contract sitting in front of our noses. All we had to do was reach up and sign the paper. So that band imploded, like pretty much on the spot. I couldn't even tell you how sickening that was, but I mean, that kind of, I don't know, man, I was so sick of everything. Like I sold everything, sold every piece of gear that I had, walked away, didn't want anything to do with music. I didn't really go to any more live shows. I kind of sat on a shelf, man. And Matty P, our other guitarist, man, him and I were in a band back in the day, and my wife and I went and saw Breaking Benjamin and Red, and something hit me, man, and I was just like, I gotta go do something. And I called Matty P, and I was like, hey, man, because he hadn't played in years either, and I was like, hey, do you want to start something? And I was like, you know, if we do this, I want to do it right. I was like, we're not taking shortcuts. We're not, you know, we're gonna work our asses off around the clock 7 days a week. We're gonna push this thing, and we're gonna do it the right way. And so, I mean, he was on board. I went back and got my drummer from my previous band, got him on board. Our singer actually moved across the country, and we'd known him, but he moved to Virginia from Coos Bay, Oregon.
Oh, wow. And
then our bassist is from Northern Virginia, man. So for myself, Matty P, and our drummer, and partly our singer, because I said we knew him prior. It was kind of a personal thing, man. Our bassist Chad came from a hockey fan group, that's a whole nother story, man. But it's been very personal, man. We were like, you know, we want to put out quality material. We want to be friends and do this, man. Like we're not just in it for the business side of it, man. It's like, you know, what's really cool about this is doing this with your friends. Like, yeah, I can go out right now and I can go find the best guitarist in the world and be like, bye, Matty P, sorry, dude, I'm taking this guy. But like, we don't want that, man. Like, we want to be honest. And so, I mean, it's been a personal road. And then as far as, you know, the just like the writing side, man, the way we go about composing things, like we're so critical and brutally honest, man. Like and you can listen, and we've gotten some blowback already off of the EP, and a lot of it comes from local cats who are just local dudes, and that's all they're ever going to be, because that's all half of them are interested in ever being. But, you know, and they're like, oh, well, your stuff's so simple and this, that, and the other, man. You know, you don't have to be Yngwie Malmsteen to write amazing music. A lot of it comes down to composure and how things are layered and how you make them feel, man, how something makes you feel when a certain spot hits. Like,
exactly.
I mean, and we're very critical over those parts, man. And so we've definitely grown in music in terms of writing as a band. And it's like, I will say that, you know, it might contradict something earlier. I said I'm trying to be as honest as I can be. But, you know, after we kind of come up with a concept, we're like, man, like, How does it make you feel? Like, what do you feel when you hear that? And we kind of go from there.
I actually had a conversation with my good friend Josh Crum from Downtrend. We were talking about keeping albums simple, just like you said. Doing simple stuff. You don't have to throw in 1,000 riffs, or you don't have to throw in 1,000 drum beats. You don't have to throw in 1,000 and make a song sound so cluttered that you don't want to listen to it. We were listening to White Zombie's first album, Lars Sisto Music, and we're like, listen how simple, like Black Sunshine, that bass tone is, that bass intro. You know, Thunder Kiss 65, how simple of a guitar riff that is. It's just that album is so simple of stuff. It just sounds perfect, and it's raw. That album sounds so raw.
And that's what you live for as an artist, man. I want that. Like we want that. We want our fans to feel that. We want. I actually had somebody tell me this today, and they listened to one of our songs, and the first thing this guy says to me is, "That felt real." And like that struck a nerve, and I was like, man, that's exactly what we're going for. It's supposed to feel real,
and it does. These songs I've heard. Geez, I can't remember the one. And forgive me, I'm sorry, but I did check out the one from YouTube from you guys, and it's off this EP. It sounds good. It sounds simple. There's not 1,000 things in it to say, oh, let me listen over here. Oh, listen to this. Oh, listen to that. It's just down to earth, simple stuff that more bands should be focusing on. And I'm not knocking anybody out there, but some things just need to be simplified. That's it.
Oh, yeah, we talk all the time, man, and you can go back and look and listen, and you know, I mean, I said again, I'll go back to the fact that we're honest people, man. But if you look at bands who are big right now, I mean, look at I Prevail. You know, I'm not knocking those guys. I love I Prevail. I love those dudes. But there ain't one thing on any of the three of their albums they've released is like overly complicated. Like they have. I mean, that's coming from a musician. You know, I sound like a dick to people who aren't musically inclined, but you know, being a guitarist and having 20+ years playing experience, like I listen to stuff like that, and I'm like, man, these guys are huge, and they're not doing anything that's like retardedly complicated.
And I want to say something too, folks. Poe just said they were sitting in Atlantic Records, staring at a contract right in front of them, and they walked away from it. Do you know how many kids would jumped on that and said, "Yeah, we'll do it"? How crazy!
Dude, it was half the band wanting to, it was the other half not wanting to. Man, there's a lot of things in this industry, and I will say this, and a lot of musicians can attest to this, but if you go to the actual industry side itself and the sales side, man, there's a lot of companies that are out here to get you, man. There's a lot of you go back to something as cliche as Cypress Hill writing Rock Superstar. You can call that cliche all day, but there's a lot of truth to that song. There's a whole lot of truth.
What can fans expect at a show from Season who've not got to see you guys live as of yet? Paul, what are they going to get when they come to see you all?
A lot of energy, man. A whole lot of energy. We kind of live by the motto, inspire chaos. And it's like, that's what you get. You know, we're not out of control, you know, on the music side. Like everything is tight. Everything is tight as can be, man. But like we interact with the crowd a lot. You know, we kind of telling on myself a little bit kind of gives it away. But we have this contest that we do, rowdiest person in the pit, man. And it varies what we give away. Our last home show we did this, and our winner actually spent the night in the ER due to injuries suffered in pit. So I mean, it is. And we don't want to see anybody get hurt, man. It's kind of a freak accident. What happened to him? He kind of jacked his knee up. Nothing serious. Didn't require surgery, whatever. And we're glad he's okay now. But that's it, man. You come to a show, we want you to have more fun than we're having. And it's like, I don't care. I mean, yeah, we want you guys up front. We want to interact with you guys. We like reaching out, giving people high fives. I'll give a kid on the front row or leaning over the rail. I'll hand him my pick, and I'll just fret the guitar and let him strum it. I mean, we want the fans to be a huge part of this, and we want to know that they're having more fun than we are.
Yeah.
And if you come to a show and you end the night and you're like, I want to go see those guys again, or even if you don't want to see us again, but you leave the show and you go, hey man, I had a blast. That's all we're looking for.
We're living in the digital era of recording albums to get music out quicker now. Plus, we've got social media to reach out to more folks. Do you like this that we're living now to get albums out quicker? And plus social media to reach out to more folks to help you all.
I do like it. I think it's a lot easier than hand to hand. I think it's there's pros and cons. I think you can definitely go the Lars Ulrich way, and more so recently Doyle coming out bitching about money. But to me, that came off as a little ungrateful. I mean, I get it from both sides. I mean, but at the same time, you know, what you're not making maybe in terms of finances, it is so much easier to obtain a following, man. It's so much easier for your stuff to get shared and stuff to go viral. And like you do one awesome thing, wake up the next day and you got 5,000 shares. And it's like, holy shit, how the hell did that happen overnight?
What made you want to become a musician? What was that spark for you?
Oh my goodness. This now we're getting deep. So I said earlier, my mom was real religious. I grew up going to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. So youth group, man, I was 10 when I got my first guitar. I had no intentions on playing guitar. Everybody in my youth group played guitar. Like everybody, man. Everybody had a guitar. Everybody was playing one. I just wanted a guitar to fit in. I had no intention on ever playing it. Talked my dad into buying one, and you know, he was kind of the same way. He was like, "You don't want to do this," and I'm like, "Yeah, I do," because I wanted a guitar. Needless to say, he got that, and I couldn't pinpoint a song, man. I couldn't pinpoint a specific artist, man. But like I pretty much like I taught myself. I've never had a lesson to this day, but I kind of accidentally fell in love with it, man. So it's kind of where that came from. But yeah, it started from me not even wanting to play guitar. I just wanted to have guitar to fit in with the cool kids.
How much local support does Seasons get via venues and airplay possibly?
Richmond completely sucks in terms of rock. We don't even have a modern rock FM station here.
Wow.
We're just kind of crazy when you think about the bands that are from here, man. Firehouse is from here. Guar is from here. Lamb of God is from here. And, you know, yeah, we don't have anything going on as far as modern rock goes. And so, I mean, that's crazy in itself. But the local scene, man, it's both good and bad. It was, you know, we are very fortunate here. We draw really well, and the draw is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, just our last home show back in January, man, we brought out 400 kids on Friday night, 400 kids in the bar. I mean, that's a packed bar, man. We played to a full house. That's a good time, man. You know, and on the bad side of things, you get the bands who don't have as much of a following, or who are still getting there, and you know, I feel like rumors get started there, and we got some of that going on too. But man, overall, home is a really good place. It's just, you know, it could be better on the airplay side.
Is there a country that stands out or even shocks you that Seasons get support from, or your music even gets played in, if anywhere possibly?
Australia.
Wow. Okay.
That's what we said. That's exactly what we said. I forget, we were sitting around talking one night, and I forgot who got the message. It wasn't me, but one of us gets a message, and it reads, "Mate, I love your song." And we didn't even know. We had to ask what song they were talking about. I think it was The Servant, but we were like, it struck us immediately. We got friends in the UK too, but we were like, "Mate." So we were like, "Where are you from?" He was like, "Oh, from Sydney, Australia." We're like, "How the hell?" Like, how the hell did that happen? And then we wound up like second on some like unsigned rock chart down there. We're like, Jesus. Like, okay.
That's awesome. That's cool. That I like to see American bands, especially locals, and you know, not locals around the U.S. getting their music played overseas. I think that's what you strive for. That's what you should be gaining for.
Absolutely, I agree.
Man, how could folks stay in touch with you guys, buy some merchandise, tour dates, buy this 5-track EP, In a Ruin? How can they do this?
Easiest way, I feel like for a lot of people, you can find us on Facebook. It's actually listed under Seasons Band, which is kind of a thorn in our side. Facebook hates us for whatever reason. We started the page and Facebook said, you can't just be Seasons. Seasons is too generic. And then it gave us some kind of other excuse and said that Seasons was too similar to Kissimmee, Florida. We were like, oh, that doesn't make any sense at all. So we had to attach the word band. Well, now we're stuck with it. For whatever reason, Facebook will not let us change it. We run into people, or we have promoters that make videos, and they're like, Seasons Band, and that's the most frustrating thing in the entire world to us, because our name is Seasons. I mean, it's not so much frustrating as much as it's like comically frustrating, if that makes any sense. But yeah, Facebook definitely. Facebook's listed under Seasons Band. Twitter, Instagram. We got stuff on Bandcamp. We have stuff on Reverb Nation. If you go to seasonsrva.com, all the merch is there. You can order merch. You can reach out directly to us. We ship anywhere in the world, man. Wherever you are, I'll ship something to Australia, UK, Japan. I don't care. You want some merch, Seasons RVA, or hit us up on Facebook.
Poe, before I let you go, would you care to do a promo for my show?
I would love to, man. Hey, this is Matty P from Seasons. You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour. Crank that shit up.
Everybody stick around. We've got some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Radio Network. Please get out and check out our Facebook page. It has our YouTube link, plus it has our podcast link. Also, get out and check out Seasons. They have a 5-track EP entitled Inner Ruin. Poe, man, thank you so much for doing the interview, and the best of luck to you guys.
Hey, thank you so much for taking your time to talk to me, man. I appreciate it.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.